Before we get into the nitty-gritty, alongside John Gibson, one of the voices of BG football on the Falcons Sports Network, I'm Dannie Rogers. And yeah, before we get into the numbers, before we nitpick, I want to know your take on just the energy, what you sensed from this BG football team after their first win last Thursday against Morgan State.
I felt like it was a stronger team. I felt like they were more disciplined. I thought they played good football all the way through in all three phases. We weren't playing against the best opponent. I would be interested to see, what they're going to look like when they play against a team that can hit back. But I was encouraged by what I saw. They went out there, they took care of business against a team that they were supposed to take care of business, and it was a decisive manner.
And there's still no word on whether Matt McDonald will be eligible this year. Coach has still not heard back. So then you got to see Darius Wade take the starting snaps. He comes up with 253 yards passing, gets a couple of touchdowns himself. What did you see from Wade that kind of reassured you this offense is going in the right direction?
I thought he played well. I mean, there was obviously some rust, but I thought he played well. I think that he offers us an element that we haven't had in a while, a quarterback who can get out of the pocket and make some things happen with his feet. I think that he throws the ball very well in the middle of the field. I think he struggles a little bit on the touch passes. But again, this is a guy that hasn't played football in over 2 years. So you have to wonder, is he a guy that I believe he is a guy that can win some games. I mean, his history says he can win some games. He beat Louisville. He's beat some teams. He's played this game at the highest levels. I think he can win some games. I'm not necessarily dire need of having Matt McDonald show up, but it would be nice to have that as an option.
Yeah, Coach said just having two quarterbacks right now is scary.
Yeah.
Imagine one. But this offense had over 600 yards of total offense. What does that say about this Falcon squad right now?
This is overreaction season, Dan.
Okay.
This is overreaction season. It's the first week of the season. Everybody believes their team is the greatest ever, or they're doomed. I'm reserving my judgment for the Louisiana Tech game. I'm reserving my judgment. What it says right now is that this is a team who dialed in and beat an opponent that they were supposed to beat. It says that there's some weapons. We saw Andrew Clare. We saw Julian Ortega-Jones. We saw some names that we hadn't called before. We saw some guys really get out there and get after it on both sides of the ball. I was really impressed. I was really impressed with the way that Darius Wade was able to spread the ball around. There's so many receivers in that stat sheet. What I will say is that we were playing an opponent that, had their hands tied behind their back.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, what's going to happen when you're playing against a team that's got a fighting chance? That's going to be the question. So I'm reserving my judgment. I was encouraged. I enjoyed it because it was disciplined football. It was not sloppy. It wasn't ugly. It was good football. It just was not the best opponent, and I'm not going to make my judgment based off of that.
Yeah, it's 7 receivers touched the ball, 4 different players found the end zone. So, yeah, there's a lot of moving around. Wade is really trying to find a lot of people, but you talked up the defense a lot. What did you really like what you saw with them?
I love the way that they came into the game and just shut down that running game. There was no running, there was nothing. And then when the guy dropped back to pass, there was no time for him to throw the ball. That's not something we've seen from a Bowling Green defense in quite some time, and I'm quite sure we haven't seen the whole package. I believe that there's still more pieces to be shown that, we're maybe won't see until Toledo, honestly. There's things that we may not see for a while. But I was encouraged just by the stoutness of the front seven specifically. We don't even know what the defensive backfield can do because they never really got any dangerous passes off. There was the one big play, but I mean, you can't really say a whole lot about a defense that gave up 70 yards of total offense. So I really enjoyed watching them stuff the run, though. That was because that was a trouble spot last year. We could not stop the run, and when you think, of the transfers that we had from the defensive line, you think, oh, this is going to be tough.
I remember, you said that.
I was like,
this
is going to be tough, but it looked great. It looked great. Now, I'm encouraged. The biggest thing is, can it continue as the competition gets better?
And it will get better because Falcons are going to Kansas State. So when you talk about can they keep this going, especially like on the defensive line, if they can't, what would be the reason, and take out the talent or personnel facet of it, why wouldn't these Falcons be able to continue to keep getting it done?
Well, I think you want to see them stay healthy. I think that's the biggest thing. I think they can. I don't think Kansas State is Goliath. This isn't facing Ohio State fresh off of a national championship. This is Kansas State, ladies and gentlemen. This is a game that we can win. If not, we can definitely compete and look competent in this game. So I think that we can go down to Manhattan, Kansas, and this defense can have a good performance. But again, these games like this, where you're playing up, where you're playing against these Power 5 schools, even from the lower realms of the Power 5 schools, what this shows you is your team's heart. Are they willing to go out there and fight? Are they willing to go out there against, insurmountable odds? And I feel so sci-fi by saying that, but are they willing to go out there against a team that they're not supposed to beat and lay it all on the line and see what happens? You can go out and win these games. Kansas State is a beatable team. They're ripe for the picking. The question is what we saw on Thursday night, is that what we're going to see for the rest of the year, or was it just the opponent?
I like the term insurmountable odds, though. And Coach today during his presser, he was really emphasizing the fact that it's going to be loud in Manhattan, Kansas, and they're working on ways in practice to help get the team used to it. So from your playing days, how does a team get used to an atmosphere like the one in Bill Snyder Stadium?
It's very interesting because it's loud in my phone right now. My uncle is a Kansas State graduate and a Hall of Famer for their track team. So he's been chirping all day in my phone. It's going to be loud there. And I think after a while, though, it's football.
Yeah.
After a while, I remember playing against Penn State, and there's 103,000 people, and it's loud, and, maybe you have to use more hand signals, you have to pay more attention as plays are being signaled in, but after a while, it's just football. You're not out there having a conversation. So it's really one of those things where once the game starts, the atmosphere, you take it in for maybe the first play, two, pregame, you take in the atmosphere. Once football starts, it's football. Now, the thing, what's tough is when you have to communicate. When Darius Wade has to tell the offensive line what the play is, when he has to change protections, when the running backs have to try to figure out what the play is, then it gets a little difficult because you're not hearing the snap count. But those are all things that you have to dial in and look and see.
Absolutely. Any last thoughts for the Falcons head over to Kansas State?
Well, I'm just interested. I want to see this team fight. At this point, I want to see this team fight. Like I said, I'm reserving my opinion until after the Louisiana Tech game, but I want to see this team fight. I want to see them go out and compete. And of course, I believe we can come home with the victory, but I also I want to see what the intestinal fortitude of this team is. Are they a bunch of tough guys, or are they going to lay it down?
I'm excited. Falcons' only Power 5 school. They don't count Notre Dame because they're independent. Eye roll. Yeah, so they're only Power 5 school. It'll be a really big test. I'm excited to see it. You'll be there in Kansas State.
Yes.
All right, awesome. With Falcon Sports Network. So if you want to hear more of John, listen then on game day, noon kickoff, 11 a.m. for you guys in Central Time. It'll be great. And catch John on our high school football coverage every what? Friday?
Every Friday night. Every Friday night. The occasional Saturday.
Love it. Yeah, without Falcon football. Awesome. That's John. I'm Danny. Mark, we'll send it back to you.